What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Happy Friday to everyone. Hope you're well as we start the weekend and look ahead to more Premier League action. Because let's be honest, people, that Europa League action was certainly nothing to write home about, man. Let me tell you that. Yesterday was potentially one of the worst games of football that I have ever watched. But we are going to talk about it later on in the show, people. Big up to everyone for tuning in. I have slowed it down. We are in Højbjerg mode, James Milner mode, all the teams we've been tucking away lately. But listen, big up to everyone for tuning in. Hope you're having a great Friday. Obviously, we got Arsenal against Leeds on Sunday. And we're going to do a double watch-along on Sunday as well. Because we will do the Liverpool v Manchester City game, which is straight after the Arsenal game. So double watch along, no messing around, lots of content coming up, people. Lick down that like button on the way in and subscribe if you haven't already, people. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's briefly, and I mean briefly, talk about yesterday's game, which, as I said before, people, it kind of goes into a category that it happened and you don't talk about it and you just move on from it. It's an absolute stinker. We'll just briefly go over it. I'm not even doing player ratings, people. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not even doing player ratings. I don't know if it's even worthy of being spoken about for that long to do the ratings. Bodo Glimt 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal, top of the group. Qualification pretty much secured now. It's just a case of whether we win the group. 7 shots, 1 on target. The 1 shot on target was the goal, which was a very lucky goal, let's be totally honest. Saka said it hit him on the mouth and went in. So that tells you everything about the game. I'm not even going to talk about the game for too long. Not doing player ratings. Saka nearly hit someone's, took their window out of their flat. That was the biggest highlight of the game. In fact, the best part of the whole game was the referee blowing the full-time whistle and ending it, putting us all out of our misery. But listen, it is what it is. 55% possession, lineups. One thing I'll say, for me, I think one of our best players was Matt Turner. What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Woo! Matty Turner. No more Tina Turner diss tracks, mate, I'm telling you. He's looked decent in the Europa League. Some would say he's found his level. But hey, Mikel Arteta says that, he would trust him in the Premier League. That's a whole other issue. But listen, one thing I want to say about the game. In the words of Kevin Campbell, who said, it's the players, Curtis, I would say it's the AstroTurf, Curtis, as Wasim has kindly put here. They couldn't play on that pitch. If you look at, I think, Tierney had a shot, Saka and Ketia, nobody could shoot. People are shooting, the ball's going 15 yards wide, even one of their players. He was one-on-one with a keeper, and he put it about 12 yards wide. I'm like, what's going on here? Crazy, absolutely. They couldn't play on the pitch. I think ultimately, when you really judge this game properly, number one, that is a team that haven't lost at home in 14 games, right? They obviously know how to play on that pitch. Like people are saying, it was Power League business. Ish said, what's a clean sheet got to do with it? And they knew how to play on it, and they're used to it, and it affected the game. The positives for Arsenal, we won the game. We're top of the group. We kept a clean sheet. And as far as we have seen at the moment, there are no injury concerns, which was always the biggest worry. I have to admit, I had a little bit of a meltdown when I saw Thomas Partey coming on with 7 minutes to go, because I'm like, brother, don't bring him on this pitch. But it worked. So, yeah, listen, we won the game. We're top of the group. PSV the next 2 games. Job done. Bang, we move on, people. That's enough of the game for me. Not much more to talk about. Don't watch the highlights. Don't watch the game back. Done and dusted. 1-0. Saka scores. Bosh. Move on from it. Imagine chilling in your yard and Saka nearly sends the ball through your window. I mean, that is decent, to be fair. I wouldn't mind having my, house or flat or apartment overlooking the Emirates, Thomas Partey's probably smashed a few of them windows, to be fair. What a boring game. 3-point collecting, exactly. They better turn up against Leeds. Well, that's the thing. Anyway, let's move on. I'm going to move on quickly, people, because we got a few bits to go through. You know what? I'm going to get press conference reaction out of the way because he's quickly talking about yesterday's game as well. It seems as if at the moment he hasn't done a press conference for the Leeds game. Maybe that'll be released later on, but every word from Mikel Arteta's post Bodo Glimt presser. I'm going to skip through this quickly as well. Just a quick waffle, little snack of waffle today, people. On ending Bodo Glimt's impressive record, he said, really happy to win here against a team that have won the last 14 games in European competitions in a row. So teams clearly go to that place and can't play on that pitch. So I do think we have to take some credit for winning the game. And listen, let's be totally honest. They could have won that game last night. They had 2 or 3 clear-cut chances, like one-on-one with the keeper. So they're clearly decent there. He said, we have come here on 15 and won it. We talked about this in the last few days in different conditions. The overall performance, the second half, there are a lot of things to improve. We know that. I'm not going to go deep into that. I understand as well why this is happening. I think the boys deserve a lot of credit. On Turner's improvement with distribution, he said he's improving, he's getting better. We are demanding things that are different to what other managers demanded him to do. Obviously, they want him to play on the ball, pass out from the back a little bit more, which maybe he wasn't comfortable doing that. Maybe it was different in the MLS. On whether he is confident in Turner starting a Premier League game, he says yes. I mean, he's not going to turn around and say, you know what, I don't want him anywhere near the Premier League game. He was always going to just answer like that. I'm facing Bodo as an opponent tonight. Really tough. I said before we played at the Emirates, this is a good team. On whether Martin Odegaard asked to start the game, obviously being from Norway, he said verbally he didn't ask me to play, but the way he was preparing in the last few days, for sure he wanted to come here. It's a contribution of everybody. So a lot of players, Reece, for example, hasn't played for 3.5 months. To be honest, he looked like he hadn't played for 3.5 months as well. Was not a performance that is going to do him any favours in rescuing his Arsenal career. Reece Nelson really wasn't. Diane said, afternoon. Curtis, any news about Jesus for the Leeds game? Sounds like he'll be all right from what I've heard. Dre, big up, bro. He said, big up Curtis in the C unit. I'm currently eating waffles. This is fitting. Perfect. Abby said, I heard it was boring. Glad I didn't skip my 5-a-side. Makes sense. Justin said, thoughts on Champions League giants dropping down. Hopefully we don't see Barca right away. I did speak about it yesterday, and for me, listen, I always want a quiet route to the final. Ideally, it would be nice if we beat some big boys and win the competition, but as I keep saying, for me, winning Europa League is secondary to finishing top 4. I think you make sure you're top 4, you're in the Champions League, you're established as a top team in the Prem, and then see if you can win the Europa League. But I would always prioritise the Prem. On whether beating PSV next week will allow him to mix things up. Obviously, if we win that game, I think we've pretty much won the group. He said, in Europe, when you have the opportunity to get there, take it. On whether playing on an artificial pitch made him worried about playing certain players, he said, you are, but it's the squad we have. We had 16 players available. I have to play 11. I don't want those 11 to play 90 minutes here because I know probably what is going to happen in the next day or two. If they get injured here, we should be talking about how we should not be risking a player or risk another player. At the end, they have to play. On whether he had to dig deeper than he wanted to get the win, he said, well, I knew it was going to be really complicated. And yeah, 14 games they've won, blah, blah, blah. Quick waffle, move on from it. Let's delete that game from our memories. Men in Black settings, man. Flash the light, delete it. It never happened, people. It was a stinker. It looked like a training session at Power League, man. It was, that's I would say the beauty of Europa League. It's probably, the horrible thing of Europa League. We should be going to the new camp, the San Siro and the Bernabeu. But it is what it is. You can only beat what is in front of you. Kembo said, what game? Yeah, it never happened. Pack said, honestly, Curtis, I've played on that fake field and coming off injury, that was not the pitch to express yourself, can easily twist up. Listen, I said yesterday, I would rather draw that game and not get any injuries than win that game and get a couple of injuries. The injuries we can't afford to get. So Arsenal winning that, coming out with no injuries, I'm more than happy with that. It's cup competition football. You don't play well every week. If you win a trophy, nobody says, oh, do you remember that night, October the 13th, when we played Bodo Glimt and didn't play very well? Nah, nobody cares about that, man. Lift the trophy and keep it moving, you know? I want to hear the Champions League music, 100%. We could still go to the new camp. I mean, I don't know if anybody's seen these pictures, but Barcelona are getting the OVO Drake Owl printed on their shirts this weekend. Obviously, because they're sponsored by Spotify, and I believe Drake's just hit 50... Was it 50 million or 50? I can't remember the number. Or was it 500 million? It could be more, actually. I'm not sure. But he's hit a certain landmark for a certain amount of views or listens on Spotify. And they've brought out this Barcelona Drake shirt with the OVO owl on the front. I got to admit, it looks kind of wavy. If you're a hip-hop fan and a football fan, that's definitely going to be a bit of a collector's edition for people in the community, man. In fact, let me just show it you. People saying it looks like they got the Sheffield Wednesday badge on the front of it. 50 billion, is it? Raw! 50 billion. Jesus. That's crazy. So here it is. OVO Barcelona. I mean, I know they're struggling in the Champions League, but putting Drake up front, I'm not sure that's going to help you, Barca. You know, to be fair, they've signed everyone else. I think they're on their way to the Europa League, people. As a hip-hop fan and obviously a football fan, that's a serious shirt, though, I can't lie. OVO on the front, man. I wouldn't mind getting hold of one of them. Just as a collector's edition, people. So, yeah, man, it's a mad one. Drake to Barca, people, confirmed. Here we go, Fabrizio Romano. But anyway, we move. Snake Eyes said, it's crazy we terminated Bellerin's contract. We may have to face him in the second round. I mean, listen, I would be disappointed if Gabriel Martinelli didn't rip Hector Bellerin apart. Like, just, I would happily go against him. A lot of people have been asking this question. And as I've been saying, people, about the Europa League and obviously the teams at the moment that look as if they could be falling out of the Champions League and heading into the Europa League. So at the moment, the third place teams in the groups in the Champions League, you've got Ajax, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Sporting Lisbon, AC Milan, Shakhtar Donetsk, Seville, and Juventus. I mean, Champions League level teams there. And listen, like I said yesterday, you look at last year, Rangers against Eintracht Frankfurt final. I think we'd have beaten all those teams quite easily. Frankfurt were decent. They did knock out Barcelona, actually. And listen, to win the competition, you are going to have to beat good teams. It's just, it seems like a year for some reason where a lot of big teams are dropping out. And listen, I agree with most people. Arsenal can beat a lot of these teams. Juventus look an absolute mess at the moment. AC Milan didn't look great the other night against Chelsea. But you still know that Barcelona over 2 games, if you go to the new camp and don't turn up, you're going out of the competition. Lewandowski scores a hat-trick and you're out. You know, that's all I'm saying. I would have rather Arsenal got just a simple route through, maybe beat 1 or 2 decent teams and won the competition. You could potentially have to play Barca, Juventus, you know, Man United, AC Milan. It's made it a little bit more difficult. It might add a little bit more excitement to it, to be honest, because I would actually love to see Arsenal play against one of these big teams. But listen, we'll see. It's important we win the group, because if you win the group, you don't get any of these clubs in the next round. If you finish second, you can play against one of these. People saying it'll add some prestige to the Europa League. I think it will. I honestly do. It would be exciting. Barcelona in a semi-final, 2 legs, go to the new camp. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. Jake said 30-minute notifications gone. I don't know why. Make sure you click the notification bell. Click all. And it's supposed to let you know bright and early, people. YouTube, sort it out. Anyway, let's look ahead. We've done press conference reaction. We're not even doing player ratings. We've done a brief 2 or 3 minute conversation about the game. I don't want to even talk about that game anymore. It's done. Let's look ahead. Bit of transfer news, and then we're going to look ahead briefly to the Leeds United game on Sunday, people. So make sure you lick down that like button and subscribe to the channel. Cody Gakpo, as you can see, he's all over the thumbnail, and a story coming out today, people, that Arsenal are chasing Cody Gakpo in January. Now, we know about this guy. We've spoken about him time and time and time again. PSV winger, 23 years of age. He started this season absolutely on fire for PSV, and Peter O'Rourke has suggested Arsenal could go after PSV winger Cody Gakpo in January. I still think it's an area of the team that Mikel Arteta would like to strengthen, and I'm sure Cody Gakpo would definitely figure on those list of targets. Now, I want to give you a little bit of context surrounding this situation. Now, he did an interview last week, Cody Gakpo, where he was asked about his future. Apparently, they were very close to agreeing a deal for him to sign for Leeds United. Leeds offered 25 million plus add-ons. It's believed they want 30 million. They may have taken 30 million plus 5 million in add-ons. Now, it's an interesting story. I'm going to give you a little bit of context to the interview that he gave. Because that article alone by itself is not a particularly strong article. What I want to give you is the context around it. He did an interview last week where he was asked about potentially leaving PSV to join Leeds. He said, ideally, I would like to join one of the top clubs in Europe and test myself in one of the top leagues in the world. One of the biggest clubs, Arsenal, Premier League, yes. He said growing up, Thierry Henry was his favourite player, his idol, as he was a tall striker / wide player in that he played wide. So he has the Arsenal connection there. Arsenal are looking for a winger, and it's believed if a club meets the £35 million fee that PSV are asking for, they would not stand in his way. Now, El Marlo makes a good point. Cup tied in the Europa League would be a bit of a blow. If you spent 35 million, you'd want him to play. But just looking at the stats on screen, people, 17 games this season for PSV, 13 goals and 11 assists, 24 goal contributions in 17 games. He has started the season absolutely on fire. Now, where this could get tricky is he extended his contract this summer. His contract now has 4 years on it, or 3.5 years left on his contract. So is that 35 million asking price that people were saying, well, that the article is saying you could get him for in January, is that going to be still the same with him having extra time on his contract? Let's get the first poll of the day up, people. More polls than an Atlanta strip club, people. Would you sign Gakpo in January for 35 million? Or like I said, we've spoken about wingers the last few days. Would he be someone you would go for? Would you sign Gakpo for 35 million in January? I have to admit, I haven't seen that much of him, if I'm being totally honest. But we play PSV the next 2 weeks, so it's the perfect scouting opportunity, if we're being honest. If he causes us major problems, then you go and have a look and get him. So the poll is up. Reece James likely to miss the World Cup and games versus us. Wow. I thought they said he was out for a week, Reece James. England all of a sudden having a little bit of a crisis at right back. Reece James. Let's see what it's saying about Reece James. Growing fears Reece James will miss the World Cup. Damage to the knee more serious than first feared. Surgery a distinct possibility. Wow. Big up for letting us know about that in the comments. Reece James could be set to miss the World Cup. 6 to 8 weeks that would see him miss the game against Arsenal. So that could be Reece James and Kyle Walker out for the World Cup. They might need Trent after all. Ben White at right back, eh? Ben White at right back, people. There is talk about Saliba going to Madrid. I mean, the thing is, you look at it, right? They've got Militao, they've got Alaba, they've got Rudiger. Do they really need him? But you know, when Madrid don't care, to be honest. Yeah, there's a few reports here. Real Madrid are looking at William Saliba as they seek a younger defender. Yeah. I mean, we don't even want to talk about that, to be honest. Paul said Napoli winger. I can't. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. I saw him against Liverpool, and he was outstanding. Yeah, Napoli are a serious team this year. Ben White and Saka on the right for England. It would make sense, wouldn't it? They've played together all season. They got a good connection, but he'll do something stupid. So he'll play Trippier at right back. Trippier's having a decent season, to be fair. Kvara, is it? Yeah. 6 Champions League winners. Yeah, you'll know all about him. He did bits. Is a winger more of a priority than a midfielder? I think a midfielder is actually a bigger priority because I think with Saka, Martinelli, you get Smith Rowe back. Worst case scenario, you've got Nelson or Marquinhos as your 4th choice. So you've got 3 quality options in Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli. You look in midfield, I would say we've only got 2 really good options at the moment, which is Partey and Xhaka. And that really is only when those 2 play together. Xhaka next to Lokonga didn't look as good against Manchester United. So I think a centre midfielder is actually a bigger priority than the winger. But ideally, why not? We should be signing both. We should. Players like Gakpo and Trossard and Zaha, these guys are available for 30 million. It's not huge money. If Arsenal are serious about getting top 4, winning Europa League, they should be able to do that. You can get Douglas Luiz in this window, 15 million. You probably get Tielemans in this window, 15 million. Both got 6 months on their deal. Danilo, the boy from Brazil, 25 million. You'll probably get him now. They've been knocked out of Copa Libertadores. There's options. There's options out there. Arsenal could probably spend 45 million and pick up a Douglas Luiz and a Trossard, or a Tielemans and a Mudryk. Whoever. The options are there. They're going to strengthen the squad, and that could be the difference between getting top 4 or not. We need Neto from Wolves. I'm a big fan of Neto. I wouldn't sign him. I would not sign him because he had this serious knee injury. He's come back and he's injured again. So I personally wouldn't go anywhere near him at the moment. I always think when a player comes back from a major knee injury, give them at least 1 season to make sure they have properly recovered. And he's breaking down already, so I wouldn't go anywhere near him. Pedro Neto. 1.1k in the chat already. Great support. Make sure you lick down that like button. Pack said we should take Zaha. He already loves the club. You know me, people. I'm a big fan of Wilf. Top player. Does turn 30 on his next birthday. And also, I'm just not sure that Arteta would want to manage him. He's a big character. And he's not the kind of guy, I think, that would take being rotated. Which I think any winger that joins Arsenal now is going to have to be rotated because Martinelli and Saka are playing at such a high level. So, yeah, I think they're looking for somebody that will come to the club, that will challenge the wingers, but will also be mindful of the fact they could be on the bench sometimes. Kroenkes need to put their hand in their pockets in January. It'll be deja vu. Listen, what happens to our squad in January and the fitness of our key players could be the difference between being close to Man City and challenging or hanging on for 4th. And, that could make the difference. Lokonga has huge potential. We just need to be patient with him from Uganda. Listen, I said quite a lot about Lokonga yesterday, and I'll address it. I'm not going to hide from it. At this moment right now, I'm not convinced by Sambi Lokonga. I'm not going to cap. That doesn't mean I'm writing him off. That doesn't mean to say he can't improve or become a very good player for Arsenal. However, he's in his 2nd season. He's 23 years of age, Belgium international. And for me, I don't see enough in his game at the moment. As I said yesterday on the stream, I don't know what Sambi is really good at. Any player that you look at, even El Neni, I look at El Neni, I think he's brilliant at getting around the pitch. He keeps the ball tidy and he can win back possession. He doesn't have much else, but he's energetic. Guendouzi was brilliant at carrying the ball. Xhaka's much better in the advance role. Partey's a beast, breaks up play, keeps the ball. I look at Sambi, I think, tell me one thing that Sambi Lokonga is really good at. And at the moment, I don't see it. I don't see anything. I think he's pretty average at everything. And I think our standards have to be high. Give him till the end of the season. let's see where he gets to. Maybe if he can get 15, 20 games this season, maybe he becomes a better player. If we're in this same position in the summer, I'd be putting him out on loan. I think he needs to go and get 12 months. You got to think he's come from the Belgium league, which is not a top league. So the jump from that division to the Premier League is quite big. Maybe he needs to bridge that gap and go somewhere in between, go to the French league, go to the Bundesliga. Listen, ultimately, when you sign a player, I think within 2 years you expect to see something. His first season was a bit of a write-off, but we kind of said first season, let's see what he's good at next year. We're not seeing that much this year either. So, listen, we're going to have to give him till the end of the season. That's a fact. But at the moment, I'm not seeing enough from him. Sambi should go out on loan, said Bally TV. Sambi needs a loan, said Snake Eyes. I'm in agreement with you right now. Dio, thank you for the super chat. I've done some serious cam watches on Sambi when he plays. He's definitely not a 6. On the ball, he's so flimsy and passing never seems assured. Not convinced. And listen, people say this all the time in the comments. Sambi is not a 6. And I agree. I don't think he is a 6. But is he that good as an 8 either? Like, if you play him in the 8 role, is he going to damage teams, get forward link-up play? I don't really know what his ideal position is in midfield. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's not an attacking midfielder. He's not a creative midfielder. He's maybe a box-to-box centre mid. I don't know. Listen, I don't want to single him out too much. I just think he's a bang average centre mid, I'll be honest. If he didn't play for Arsenal, I think he'd play for a bottom half of the table team. But maybe you'll clip this and maybe in 6 months we'll be talking about a top centre midfielder that's starting for Belgium and on his way to the World Cup. You know, stranger things have happened. But at the moment, I don't see it. Nelson said, I still don't know what type of midfielder he is. The game passes him by. After the game, you think, what did he do, good or bad? He's a strange one. Do you know what? When I went to watch Arsenal live and I watched him closely, I thought, let me really see what he's about. And he got on the ball a couple times and he played diags over the top of their fullback. And I thought, you know what? You've got a little something there. And for the next 20 minutes, Gabriel was getting on the ball. And Gabriel was like putting his arms out, like, come and get the ball. Give me an angle so I can just give it to you in midfield. And I'm telling you now, Sambi didn't want the ball. It was one of them where you're like standing next to their midfielder. You've kind of got your arm out to make it look like you want the ball, but you don't really want it. And I thought he's playing in a way that he looks like he's scared to make a mistake. And maybe he's feeling the pressure of the Premier League. So we'll see. Ayo, thank you for the super chat. Big C, which of these two ex-Arsenal players would you take back if you could, keeping in mind their position and what we need? Gnabry or Guendouzi? Listen, I know I've said that we need a centre midfielder more than a winger, but obviously I got to take my boy Gnabry over Guendouzi. Gnabry is on such a higher level than Guendouzi that I would, I'd make an exception to the rules in that circumstance. Latte, big up, bro. He said Caicedo from Brighton has potential. Sambi not. I just think that when you sign a player, how long do you give them before you say, okay, it's just not happening? Pepe got to 3 seasons before they said enough's enough. Sambi's in his second. So I would imagine Arteta would maybe give him 1 more year, but I would loan him in the summer. There are a lot of midfielders that can come in and are better than him, and they're not even expensive. Darren said, facts, Curtis. Anyone who's played the game knows this. I think, and let me give him a little bit of a defense here. Sambi's come out of an environment where he's playing for Anderlecht, one of the biggest clubs in Belgium. They've got a good history. They're playing in Europe. He's in the Belgium squad. He's playing in his natural position, his natural role. Confidence is sky high, right? He's probably playing, chest out. I'm a baller. He's come to the Prem. Big money move. A lot of eyes on him. A lot of expectation. He's come to the Prem. He's not starting. The league is a lot better. And he can't really get into the team. He got a little chance in the team. And I think, like I said, I think he's playing like a turtle. Like the turtle's popped its head out, had a look and gone, oh, this feels a bit dangerous. And he's put his head back in. It's like the pressure, the expectation, social media, the fan base. It's probably a lot, and some people don't handle that very well. We've seen it. A lot of good players have come to the Premier League and struggled and had to go elsewhere. Like Jake's saying, it's like he's in shock a little bit. Like, damn, the Prem, man, the tempo is high, the physicality, the pressure, the expectation. And I'm just not sure he can handle it at the moment. I think sometimes, and this is what Trossard's agent was saying about he didn't want Trossard to go from the Belgium league straight to Arsenal because Arsenal tried to sign Trossard. He wanted him to go to a Brighton, less pressure, learn the trade, understand the Premier League, deal with the pressure and the physical aspect, and then go to an Arsenal. Maybe Sambi just needs that little gap to be filled in between the Belgium League and Arsenal, and I think a loan would be a good thing for him next season. At the moment, he's not the answer. That is for sure. I'm not going to hide. Sambi is worrying me a lot because and some people will think, why are you talking about Sambi so much? I'm talking about him so much because I'm looking at it thinking, if Thomas Partey comes out of that team, you're the replacement. Are you good enough to replace him? I don't think you're nowhere near good enough to replace him. So, yeah, and Akeem, big up my bro. He said he looked good when he first came in, and that's what I'm saying. He was riding that wave of confidence. I've just trebled my wages. I was picking up, 15 grand in Belgium. Now I'm on 50 grand. I'm in the Prem. I'm in London. I've upgraded the BM to a G-Wagon, My one-bedroom apartment is now a 4-bedroom mansion with a swimming pool. Everything's changed. He's riding that wave. Give me the ball, man. I'm bopping. I'm here. I'm ready, man. Then you lose a game. Then you get dealt with by Kevin De Bruyne. You can't get near him. Kante hunts you down all game. Pogba runs past you, or Bernardo Silva nutmegs you. All of a sudden, you're back in your 4-bedroom mansion with the swimming pool going, damn, this ain't what I thought it was, So I just think get another midfielder to take the pressure off him, because he's the next one in line is why, if you make him your 5th choice, there's not a lot of pressure on him. But this is why I think in January, don't turn your nose up at the likes of Tielemans, the likes of Douglas Luiz, because we need somebody to just bridge that gap. And I think 15 million for a Douglas Luiz or something would be ideal. Guna for Life said, first and foremost, Sambi is not a defensive midfielder. He's box to box. I understand that Arteta and the coaching staff want him to play that role. Give him time. Do we have the time? Midfield is such an important position on the football pitch. We've seen it for years. How long have we been trying to fix the midfield? We saw it. We've seen it for years. When we lost Fabregas, it took us years to find the ball player. The ball player eventually became Santi Cazorla. We said, yes, we've got the deep-lying playmaker. We've got him. But Coquelin wasn't a top-level DM next to him. Then Cazorla gets injury-prone, has to leave. You bring in Thomas Partey. You're like, damn, now we need Santi Cazorla again. We need that balance. We need 2 top-quality midfielders and a couple in reserve that are at a similar level. Actually, Cazorla and Partey would have probably been an outstanding partnership. But listen, there's a few players in that same position. Let me not just single him out. You look at Saka. Who's the backup to Bukayo Saka? Marquinhos, Reece Nelson. Right here, right now, I'm saying those 2 aren't good enough to be his backup. Marquinhos didn't start yesterday. Confidence looks to have dropped a bit. Nelson didn't look great at all yesterday. So Saka ultimately has no competition on the right. You look in midfield. Xhaka and Thomas Partey, they're guaranteed to start if they're fit. There's no competition. Lokonga's never going to push one of those 2 out of the team at the moment. You look at the striker position. Jesus and Nketiah. Look at Eddie Nketiah yesterday. I know it's a plastic pitch, difficult to play on. He's not going to get Gabriel Jesus out of that team unless Jesus gets injured or he's shattered and you have to take him off. So there's 3 or 4 positions, and I realise it takes time. You need more transfer windows. You need more time. But you want Arsenal to be in a position where, at left back now, we're like, who plays at left back? Zinchenko, Tierney, great options, different options. You can even put Tomiyasu there. Right back, Tomiyasu, Ben White. Left wing, Smith Rowe, Martinelli when they're fit. You need the squad to look like that all over, and it's not easy, and it costs a lot of money, but that's how you win top trophies, That is how you win the big prizes. Sambi is not a kid, he's 22. Yeah, listen, man. Let's just hope that by the end of the season, we're talking about him as a much better player. And it can happen. It can happen. I've seen players before you go, they're a write-off. Look at Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka, people said it's the biggest turnaround since Caitlyn Jenner. So, everybody would have said his career will be elsewhere. Now he's at Arsenal playing well, getting player of the month. So let's see. Listen, Sambi, prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. Yeah, prove us wrong. I hope he turns it around and becomes a real top player. By the end of the season, I want him out. Listen, let's see. Give him this season to prove himself. Yardman said, we are top of the league now in a stratosphere where we aren't swimming with the small fish looking top 4. We have to start shopping in the Gucci store and throw out the old Tommy Hilfiger. Listen, when you start to become more successful in life, in anything, expectation goes up. Things change. It's just the reality sometimes, people. My first car was a Renault Megane. Paid about £1,500 for it, man. I had issues. I was in the garage all the time. You know what I mean? All sorts was going wrong with it, But eventually, as life gets better, you go, yeah, man, let me get myself a nice new car now. And, leather interior and all them things there. And like you're saying, Arsenal, we ain't trying to just scrape top 4. So we're just buying some little bit part player that I've never heard of and hoping that he turns into a world beater. Look at the difference that Gabriel Jesus has made to this football team. And you know why? Because there's no adjustment period. There's no let's wait 2 years and let's see if he's a decent player. There's no, let's figure out if he's good enough to play at this level. He's come in, he said, listen, I'm a big boy. I'm ready to go right now. Give me the number 9. Start me up front. I'll take you to the next level. That's what happens when you buy certified players. You can't always get those players because they're expensive. But that's the difference they make sometimes. Look at Aubameyang when he signed for the football club. Scored on his debut. No messing around. Look at Alexis Sanchez. Hit the ground running. Mesut Ozil. Now, don't get me wrong. Every now and then you hit a Nicolas Pepe. You hit a Willian. Established players that didn't do anything, but you have to sign players of that level sometimes to lift that dressing room. So we can't be sitting here I told you, people like Sambi at the moment, people like Rob Holding, people like El Neni, even Eddie to a certain extent, they're at the football club because they're good guys, they train well, and they've got a great attitude. They're probably the first on the training ground. They run their socks off. They don't moan at the manager, and they get new contracts. I call them sympathy contracts because I think managers sometimes just like having nice people around like that. But ultimately, to win, you've got to lift the standard and expectation. Look at Pep. That's where we're all aspiring to be at the end of the day. We're all trying to be where Pep and Man City are right now. This guy, he's getting rid of people like Raheem Sterling and saying, thank you for your service. I'm done. I want something different. That's how cutthroat it is at the top level, people. Like I said, you look at certain squads, there ain't no weakness in their squad. And somebody said in the comments yesterday, yeah, but Arsenal can't sign a top player and put him on the bench, especially in midfield. But I think we can. Because you look around the other teams, the big 6 teams, Spurs are benching Basuma at the moment. Man United have been benching Casemiro for the first 4 or 5 weeks since he's been in. Man City got Gundogan on the bench. Liverpool, look at Liverpool at the weekend. They had Firmino on the bench and Jota on the bench. I know they're not midfielders, but these are levels. These are kind of players you need to be bringing off the bench saying, go and win me the game. At the moment, you look on our bench, you can't tell nobody there to go and win you the game. Well, you could say it, but it ain't going to happen. Like I said, the bench is like one of them rusty park benches with bird poo all over it at the moment. You could sit on it. It will just about hold you, but, I don't know if it's worth it. So, yeah, we need a better bench, that's for sure. Aya said, if Sambi isn't giving you confidence, then Nelson needs to go ASAP. Nelson, for me, I don't see his future at this football club. I just don't see it. How many chances do you give him? This is what I'm saying. How many chances do you give him? Again, he's in the last chance saloon this season. Yeah, sympathy contracts, man. Oh, you're a nice guy. You train well. Here's a new 4-year deal. You know, we got to stop doing that. Trust the process. Don't rush the process. I hear you, but let's be honest. Let's be honest, eh? Our manager's in his 4th season. 350 million spent, 4 seasons. I now expect to see a squad that is capable of competing. At the moment, I think we've got about 13, 14 good players. Starting 11, 2 or 3 subs. After that, you're down to the bare bones, right? You're literally down to the bare bones. So people saying I'm harsh, but the harsh reality is what can take us back to the top. We can't start feeling sorry for people. Oh, Nelson, he's a young player. Give him another year. Nah, brother. How many years do you need before we see something happen? You've had the loans. You've had the time. You've had the injuries. We're waiting. Where's the end product? You know, if your boss says to you, listen, on Monday, this is that project. I need it by Friday. On Friday, you go, didn't quite finish it. Give me another month. I'll sort it out. The brother will say, no, man, go and get your coat. You know, so Nelson, thank you, but no thank you. If it don't happen this year, you're done, mate. I don't care if you came through the system. Sambi, we paid nearly 20 million. They told me that you was the new Yaya Toure. You don't look like the new Yaya Toure to me. 2 years at the club. If it don't happen by the end of this season, Marseille on loan, mate. Marseille on loan. We'll see you in a year and see where you're at. El Neni, thank you for being a great squad player. You've ran through brick walls for this football club. End of this season, see you later, mate. Go to Southampton. Go and play for Southampton. We're moving on now. We're stepping the game up. We're in Harrods, where they escort you around the shop and they offer you a drink and they spray aftershave on you and they say, sit here on the nice leather sofa. What size would you like those Gucci's in? I would like size 9, please. And they bring them over to you. Fresh pairs, not no off-display pair. You know, we don't need to go TK Maxx and raid the sale rack and hope the Ralph Lauren t-shirt's in a medium and it fits you. We don't need to do that no more. I'm in Harrods. I'm in Selfridges. We want to be prestigious. We want to be the top dogs with Pep Guardiola. I ain't trying to be there in the bargain basement, you know, looking for scraps in McDonald's. I'm trying to eat steak. So that's how we have to get our mindset, people. We have to think at the top now, people. These man, I ain't got no sympathy for these man. I ain't got no sympathy. You man at Arsenal picking up millions of pounds, perform. If you don't perform, then move on. Simple as that. Move on. We're trying to move up to the top now, people. Douglas Luiz signed a new contract at Villa. Well, wow. Has he actually? I haven't seen that. Let's type this in. Douglas Luiz. He must be absolutely crazy if he signed a new deal there. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's his career over. Forget everything I said about Douglas Luiz. He's rubbish. I've never rated him. I don't want him anywhere near the club. He's a fake Brazilian. I think he's from somewhere else. Douglas Luiz has signed a new long-term contract with Villa. Deal completed after negotiations on deadline day. Considered untouchable. Yeah, never rated him. Never, ever rated him. I'd rather keep Sambi Lokonga, the new Yaya Toure. Stick by him. Give him 2 more years. He'll be better than this fraud. It's crazy, man. You know I don't hide from it, people. You know I don't hide from it. Shameless in 4K, people. Put him on the sale rack in TK Maxx, man, this fraud. Man said he's from Peru. He ain't from Brazil. I've never rated him. Never rated him at all, mate. I'm glad we didn't sign him on deadline day. Well, by the way, can I just ask someone? What the hell is he thinking? Like, what is this guy thinking? Signing a new deal. Don't get me wrong. They probably doubled up the wages and, you know, he's probably ordered a new Ferrari or something. But, brother, you ain't going to the World Cup. I tell you that much. And Villa are struggling. I don't know why. I don't know what this guy's thinking. I don't know. That's an injury. Man said he's holding on to his girl. His girl plays for Villa, innit? Yeah, he plays for Villa. Man said, listen, I ain't moving to London and leaving her in Birmingham. Them man in Birmingham are hungry as well. He said, nah, mate, I'm staying right here. She probably signed a new deal. He said, I'm signing it as well. Man ain't going nowhere. Man said, of course. He's going nowhere, mate. Steven Gerrard. Yeah, Douglas Luiz, mate. What a bum he is, mate. What an absolute bum. I don't want him anywhere near this club. Yuri Tielemans, it is them people. Yuri Tielemans, it is. To be fair, I actually wanted Douglas Luiz more than Tielemans just because he's the defensive-minded midfielder, and I think we need that one more than the creative one. But yeah, we'll see. That's an interesting one. Yeah, them man in Brum, they don't play, man. He couldn't leave her in Brum. He said, listen, I'll sign a 4-year deal. You ain't going nowhere. Douglas Wife plays for Villa too. Yeah, man, he knows what he's doing. Probably said to Arsenal, listen, if I sign, she's got to sign for the women's team. It's all mad. Sky Touche said, actually, good news. I never rated this guy. Looks like Danilo then. Looks like Danilo. From Palmeiras. Temp said, rubbish. Never rated him. Never rated, mate. You ain't going to the World Cup. And we don't want you. Man said he's from Costa Rica. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about top quality midfielders. Elite midfielders. Anton said she wants a man from Brom. Big tune, by the way. Let's talk about real midfielders in the Premier League, people. Forget these little waste of times. Douglas Luiz signing new contracts with Steven Gerrard. Let's talk about proper midfielders. Let's talk about this guy. You never thought I'd be saying that about this guy, would you? By the way, let's not get carried away. I still believe at some point something can go wrong. But I'm enjoying it. It's great banter while the time's right. Granit Andrea Pirlo Xhaka is what we're calling him right now. Arsenal are planning to open new contract talks with Granit Xhaka. Sources have told Football Insider Arsenal are ready to discuss a new contract with the player after his involvement at the World Cup with Switzerland. I'm trying to weigh this up for a couple of reasons, because didn't this guy sign a new contract last summer? I'm just trying to figure out why they're offering him a new deal when he's supposed to have signed a new deal already a year ago. Let's see what Sportrack's saying here. Granit Xhaka, his contract runs out in 2024. He's on 100,000 a week. He's got 2 years left. So I suppose by the end of this season, he'll have a year left. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't be giving Granit a new contract. I'm going to be totally honest. I wouldn't. I know I've said a lot of praise towards Granit in the last few weeks. 2 years left on his deal. Well, he's got a year left next summer. Nah, I wouldn't be extending his contract. I don't think I would. I think I'd let that contract run down. If you want to keep him next season, just run it down. You ain't going to get no money for Granit Xhaka, right? We tried to sell him last summer, and Roma offered us 12 million for him. He's a year older now. I don't see the point. Let me end that first poll, and we'll get another poll up. I want to ask you about Granit Xhaka. The first poll has ended. 81% of you would sign Gakpo, 19 wouldn't. I'm going to ask you people, would you give Granit Xhaka a new contract? I'm going to be honest. As much as I've praised him, not for me. Not for me. I don't think there's any reason to. Would you give Granit a new contract? I wouldn't. Just ride this wave until he falls off, and then move on from him. I ain't trying. Man's gonna have a testimonial at Arsenal, people. I mean, yeah, you're in good form. You won Player of the Month. I ain't trying to see Granit Xhaka having testimonials at Arsenal. 18 months left on his deal. So by the end of this season, he'll have a year left. I would have no problem him just running down that contract. If you're going to keep him at the club next season, obviously. But nah, not for me. I'm not giving him a new deal. I'm just looking here. Granit Xhaka's 30, so next season he'll be 31. He'll be approaching 32 by the time that contract ends. There's no way I'm giving Granit Xhaka a new contract. I'm sorry, I'm not. You're going to be taking him into the age of 33, 34. No, we're never. He'll probably end up as the manager. He'll probably end up, they'll give him a new 4-year deal. Then they'll bring him in as assistant manager. 1-year extension. Man said, not surprised he got nudes on there. Man said as well, they'll extend Xhaka's contract before Saliba. There are rumours doing the rounds today, people, that Real Madrid are looking at Saliba. I don't want to put no worry into the fan base, but even reading that story makes me nervous. I just don't even like reading it. Snake Eye said, Big C, I'm with you, but we know he is Arteta's boy. We should sell him at a high to see if we can get something. This guy is never leaving. He will never leave while Mikel Arteta's the manager. Dio said, if we don't extend, then that would mean we have to sign 2 or 3 centre mids with El Neni leaving, and that's just unrealistic. So extend. But the thing is, he's got another year. He's got another year next season. El Neni's out of contract this summer. So you let El Neni go this summer, bring in a replacement. Maybe Sambi goes on loan. And then Xhaka's still got another year. I think by the end of next season, that's more than long enough. And then weigh it up then. But listen, the club, they obviously think a lot of this guy. They're probably going to offer him a 1-year extension. So he'll get another 2 years when we hit this summer. Anything longer than that would be crazy. Douglas Luiz, new contract at Aston Villa, says, why always me? As I said, never rated him. He's a fraud. And I'm not even sure he's Brazilian. Check his passport. Last I heard, he was from Ecuador. Jacadinho, much better than Luiz, always rated him. Anthony said he'll be Arteta's assistant, then take over as manager in 2026. Would not surprise me. Ella said, I love Xhaka. Wow. Isn't he a coach as well? 1-year deal can't be the worst. Listen, worst case scenario, you give him a 1-year extension to take him to 2020. That would take him 2025. Worst case. It can't be any longer than that, I tell you. We only went for him because he scored from a corner. I thought Douglas was a done deal. I honestly can't believe he signed a new contract at Villa. Like people are saying, I think it's because his missus is at Villa. He don't want to leave her in Birmingham. Make sure you smash the likes. Nearly 2,000 of you in the chat. Let's hit 1,000 likes on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Probably rename the Emirates to Xhakarats. Wouldn't surprise me. Granit signs a new contract with a feather on black ink. Mikel loves him. Like I said, there's a poll up, people. What are your thoughts? Personally, I wouldn't give Xhaka a new contract. Contract runs out 2024. He'll be 32. I think that would be time to shake hands and say thank you for your service. But Arsenal, they love this guy. They're never going to get rid of him, are they? They'll probably give him a much longer contract. Yeah, I'm with you, Snake Eyes. Listen, I respect what he's doing at the moment. And we always try and focus on the positives. He's playing much, much better at the moment. Like I said, he's got 18 months left on his deal. So for me, by the end of that 18 months, I'd be more than happy to let him go. But, yeah, I don't forget the fact that for 5 seasons, I didn't think this guy was anywhere near good enough. So let's put it into perspective as well. Give Granit a statue. Yeah, give him a toy statue on his way out, people. That's the best I would do. Anyway, let's move on. Granit Xhaka, forget about all that. This weekend, Arsenal play against Leeds United. Leeds United Football Club. And what was interesting is, I don't know if people have heard, Kieran Tierney's done an interview this weekend where he's talking about the fact that he didn't play against Liverpool, and that Mikel Arteta explained that it was a tactical decision to go with Tomiyasu, and that it worked perfectly, and that he respected it, which I think is very mature of him. I'm sure deep down he would have been disappointed, you know. Zinchenko got picked ahead of him for the North London derby, and then you see Tomiyasu play ahead of you against Liverpool. It must have been frustrating, but ultimately we won both games. He can't really complain that much. Now, we're playing against Leeds United this weekend. Just wanted to have a little look at them and what they're about. Leeds are 14th in the Premier League at the moment. No win in their last 5 games, 2 draws and 3 defeats. In the last 5 games for Leeds, they are definitely not in form when it comes to their last 5. Leeds game isn't even on TV. It's crazy, isn't it? Super Sunday, Leeds, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Barcelona, Real Madrid. I mean, do you know what? I forgot that El Clasico was on Saturday. I'm doing a double watch along, right? So we're doing Leeds, Arsenal. Could be a techie one, that, because obviously the game's not live on TV, but there are means and ways. So we will do the watch along. Little 20-minute break. Then we're straight back on Liverpool v Man City. Do we actually try and do a triple header and get the El Clasico in after as well? I'm just seeing, what time does that kick off? Oh, it kicks off at 3:15. No, so I can't do it. I actually can't do it. The game's on at the same time as Arsenal. Why on earth would you put El Clasico on at 3:15 in the afternoon? That is an absolute shambles. Why would you not just put it on in the evening when we could all watch it? Maybe I'll have it on as well at the same time as Arsenal. Another dot along this weekend. Yeah, it's going to be a mad one, but we'll make it work, people. We'll make it work. Anyway, let's focus on Leeds United. No win in their last 5, people. Should be a team that we should be beating. They have looked a little bit better this season, but still not amazing. Where we have to be a little bit careful, I'm going to do a double screen watch along, 100%. El Clasico and Arsenal Leeds on at the same time. Leeds are unbeaten at home this season. 3 games. They beat Chelsea. They beat Wolves. They drew with Everton. They're a better team at home than they are away from home. So we are going to have to be mindful. Sinisterra is back from suspension. Very quick, dangerous player. Did well last year over there at Feyenoord with Reece Nelson. And they're a bit of a different team from last year. Signed a couple of Americans. Tyler Adams, a player that we were linked with from Leipzig. It's going to be a tricky one. They are a better team at home. Their fans will get behind them, make it noisy. But at the end of the day, if we've got aspirations of finishing top 4 or challenging, as some people are saying, we got to beat Leeds. We have to beat them. And listen, we've got to find a way to win this game. If we score early, then I think we get the better of them. Sankova said, French team, Marseille play PSG. We may even do that one. We could even do that one in the evening. Get a bit of a watch of Nuno Tavares, and obviously Guendouzi's there, Alexis Sanchez, and obviously Mbappe and Messi and that. So yeah, maybe we'll do that. Let's obviously look at Arsenal, top of the league, high flying, big weekend again. Arsenal have 5 games until the World Cup in the Premier League. 5 games. Now, I'm going to show you those fixtures shortly, but big weekend. Manchester City play Liverpool. If Man City lose, we win. We're 4 points clear of them. At this stage in the season, that will have been 10 games gone. 4-point gap on Manchester City will be something decent for us to build on and work with. I keep saying, can we get to the World Cup top of the league and then see where we go from there? I think City will have a tough game at Liverpool. A lot of people think City are just going to roll Liverpool over. I actually don't think so. I think they're favourites, and I wouldn't surprise me if they beat Liverpool. But I think Liverpool will react a little bit. It's at Anfield. They're not just going to roll over and get their bellies tickled. I don't think so. I got to be honest. Trent's out injured. I actually thought Gomez looked better at right back than Trent against Martinelli. AS said, Big C, would you take Elise to compete with Saka? I like Elise. I like Eze as well. Both good players at Palace. Tyler Adams is good. He would fit right in our midfield. Akeem said, man's trying to have a 6-hour watch along. All day or on Sunday, people. I'm telling you, Super Sunday. I might eat dinner live on stream and all sorts. It's all mad. Time to be a Pool fan. You'll never walk alone. Yeah, listen, if Liverpool lose and we win, we're 17 points clear of Liverpool. I think that puts them out of it in terms of catching us. I don't think they catch us for the rest of the season. So if City beat Liverpool, there's a positive for Arsenal. Liverpool, I don't think we compete with them for the rest of the season. But if Liverpool beat City, we get a gap on Manchester City, and that's a positive for us as well. So it's a win-win. Anyway, I wanted to look at this. Arsenal have 5 Premier League games before the World Cup, which is interesting. Leeds away. Next weekend, Southampton away. Now, Southampton, we actually have a poor record at Southampton, even though they are playing pretty bad this season. It's just a ground that we seem to struggle on when we go there. We then play Nottingham Forest at home, Chelsea away, and then before the World Cup, we finish off with Wolves away. 4 away games in the 5 league games that we play. We've also got 3 Europa League games, PSV at home and away, Zurich at home, and Brighton at home in the Carabao Cup. So 4 away games before we go to the World Cup. Chelsea, Leeds, Southampton, and Wolves. How many of those 5 games do you think we'll win? In fact, let me end the poll and get another poll up. 54% of you think Xhaka should get a new contract. 46% think he shouldn't. 5 games. How many points you expecting to take from that? Leeds away. Got to be a win. Southampton away. Got to be a win. If we're serious, I don't care if we got a bad record at Southampton. They're bang average. We're top. We've got most of our players fit. We should beat both of them. Forest at home should be a win. Chelsea away, don't get beat is what I would say. Get a point. Wolves away, got to go and beat them as well. So I'm going to be honest, I'm looking 13 points. I'm disappointed if we get less than 13 points out of that. You shouldn't lose any of them games. The only game you could potentially lose is Chelsea, if we're not at it. If we turn up to Chelsea, don't play well, they'll punish us. But the rest of them, Wolves are out of form, don't have a manager. Southampton are out of form. Leeds don't look great, haven't won in their last 5. Forest second from bottom. At home as well. You got to be picking up wins there. You have to be picking up at least 13 points for me. If we're a genuine title contender, which people are talking about, can we compete with City? You got to get 13 points out of them. 4 wins and draw at Chelsea, and we keep it moving. And big up Wolves, who said, though we need change and quickly, hoping to get anything against Arsenal has been so bad since Feb after those Arsenal. Interesting that Wolves in talks to get Nuno back as manager. Not sure that's a great decision. I thought he was a good manager at Wolves. He faded at the end. He flopped at Tottenham. I think Wolves have been a bit lazy there. I think they should have got somebody fresh, vibrant, a little bit more attacking to come in. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, I'm expecting 13 points. Some of you saying 15, no less. Listen, if we get 15 out of them 5, that's when I'll start saying we are genuine challengers. Even 13 would be unbelievable. 13, yeah, definitely go for that. I'm usually the last to predict a win at Chelsea. Chelsea are starting to look a bit better, but I do think we can beat them. I honestly do. Ray said, Big C, I predict a Liverpool versus City win 4-3. You think Liverpool are going to beat them? Never go back to your ex, man. I'm telling you, it don't work. If it didn't work the first time, it doesn't often work the second. So let's get some of your comments in before we round up. We've been on for an hour, people. I will have a pre-recorded preview out again that I did at the ground. So that'll be out probably sometime tomorrow. And obviously, big watch-alongs on Sunday. Arsenal Leeds. At the same time, we're going to be watching El Clasico, Real Madrid-Barcelona. They've put that on at the same time, so we're going to do that. And then we're doing Liverpool against Manchester City after. And we may, depending on how the day's going, we may even do PSG against Marseille later in the evening. So at least 3 games we're covering. This Reece James injury is all over Sky now. Reece James is going to see a specialist this weekend. He could need an operation that would put him out for 6 to 8 weeks, and he would miss the World Cup. That is a big blow for Chelsea. He is one of their best players. South London's finest, we have beaten Chelsea at the Bridge our last 2 visits. Yeah, the Smith Rowe tapping, and what was the other one? Eddie and Nketiah double. So yeah, we got a decent record for finally. Abby said, I want Liverpool to beat City, not for the title race, but for maintaining our invincible record. I hear you on that. Prince said, I'm greedy. I want 15 points. Reece James transferred out of my fantasy team straight away. Douglas Luiz signed a new contract with Villa. Lunatic, mate. Absolute lunatic. Never rated him. Apparently didn't want to leave his missus in Birmingham. Martinelli lent for the pitch goal. Yeah, man. Did we win that game? I think we did, didn't we? That was a few years ago. Is it a bigger blow for Chelsea or England? I would say Chelsea, because who do they replace him with? England can replace Reece James. I know Trent's out of form, but he's a good replacement. Kyle Walker, if he does make it fit, he's good enough. Who will Chelsea play at right back? I don't even know who their other right back is. We need a Jesus hat-trick soon. For all the brilliance of Jesus and everything that he's doing amazing at the moment, I would just say I want a few more goals from him, you know? Can he turn 1 goal into 2, 2 goals into 3? That kind of thing. At some point, the winning run will end, but in which game, Chelsea or Wolves? I mean, we've lost 1 game, haven't we? Man United, which we shouldn't have lost. If we can get to that World Cup without losing another game, we're absolutely flying. Let me just see who Manchester City have got the next few games, just to see if they've got games where they're dropping points. Let's have a look. In fact, let me share the screen. Let's see who Man City are playing. Have they got any potential games they could drop points in? So City have got Liverpool away, Brighton at home, that's 3 points. Leicester away, 3 points. Fulham at home, that's Haaland double hat-trick. Brentford at home, that's a Haaland hat-trick. And then they go to the World Cup. So, yeah. The only thing is they've got Chelsea in the Carabao Cup and Seville in the Champions League. But I think they've already qualified, and Dortmund. So, yeah, they don't have a lot. Liverpool's the only game, really, you can see them dropping points before the World Cup. So, yeah, if they beat Liverpool, I don't see them dropping a point before the World Cup. Sebastian, thank you for the super chat. Curtis, we should not expect anything less than 15 points. We were satisfied with less. We aren't title. If we are satisfied with less, we aren't title contenders. I hear what you're saying. We want 15, but if we get 13, I'll be happy with it, you know. Maddison better than Odegaard. Odegaard lives off aesthetics. That's a whole debate in itself. Arsenal fans will be Scousers this weekend. Yeah, of course. Come on, Liverpool. Listen, I'll end it on that note. Thank you very much for tuning in, people. Really appreciate it. As a lot of you have just said as well, let's take heart from the fact Manchester City have drawn 2 games this season, so they can drop points. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Big monster watch-along settings on Sunday. Make sure you tune in. I'll be live from 1:15. Arsenal against Leeds, Barcelona against Real Madrid, and Liverpool against Manchester City. Keep it locked here on Sunday. Little preview will be out tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. And we'll see you over the weekend and a massive day of football on Sunday. Bless.